subject I'll go on to is about transfer gossips and what news and rumours are going around the web about what players we might get in January. So the first player we might get is the Bolton defender Gary Cahill. He is 25 years old and is a regular England international, and as you know, that he was about to go to Arsenal in the summer, but Bolton at the last minute pulled out because of the high valuation they had on him, which was around 25 million, which is ridiculous because he only had 12 months left on his contract, which I'll go on now. Because now he only has about 6 or 7 months left on his contract, Bolton are likely to sell him to any suitors because they don't want to lose him to any clubs that will take him free, because I have no doubt that when he is out of contract in the summer, there will be a lot of clubs that will offer him a contract immediately. And because we lost Vidic in the Basel game to that knee cruciate ligament injury, and he's ruled for the rest of the season, I think this might be a goodbye, because it will be around 7 to 8 million. I think that would be the most that Bolton will be looking for. But again, if you look at our squad, we do have Ferdinand, Evans, Smalling, Jones, and even the young player Zeki Fries, who can cover in as centre back. I know Zeki Fries is not the most experienced person in the world to play week in week out in the Premier League, but we have this policy of stand by youth, and he's shown in the Carling Cup. I know it's a step up in the Premier League, but he has shown that he has got a lot of quality to offer to the team. The next player I'm going to go on about is Milos Krasic, who plays for Juventus as a winger, and there's a lot of speculation that Juventus are willing to let him out on loan in January because he is out of favour there, and he had some bust up with the management team there. So, and from what I've seen of him, he seems to be a very tricky customer, just like Young is. Can dribble both ways, and end product is always there from him. So I don't know if we need a wide player at the moment, because I'm more concerned about the centre midfield myself personally. But if we get him on loan to cover and then maybe push Valencia in the middle, or actually Young up top with Rooney, then maybe that's the way to go. But I'm not sure about that one. We'll have to look into it. But if I have to give my opinion in it, I would say that we are unlikely to sign players, as we already have enough cover on the wide midfield place. And then the last news I'll bring you on is Paul Ince, who is a former United midfielder, as you know, and he has come out this week saying that we need to buy at least one striker and one midfielder. For the striker, he said that we are over reliant on Wayne Rooney, and how we, if he doesn't perform very well and doesn't get the 20 goals a season, then we struggle, which I disagree with him about, because doesn't he know that we have a certain striker called Chicharito? I know he's injured at the moment, but last season Chicharito got 20 goals himself, and Wayne Rooney, if you remember, didn't perform well for most part of the season, and only until the very end of the part of the season where Wayne picked up his game and started to perform week in week out for us. And as well, Danny Welbeck's back, and we all know his qualities from the early game we've seen this season, and from the game he's been playing so far, that he's definitely got quality, and that he will chip in with a few goals now and then. And you can't always rule other players like Makeda. Yes, he hasn't scored yet this season, but he will certainly chip in with a few goals. Or even Michael Owen when he comes back, and certainly Dimitar Berbatov, who was the Premier League top goal scorer last season. And yeah, so maybe I could see him that he wants to a recognised established striker, like maybe Robin Van Persie. I'm not saying we're going to sign Robin Van Persie, but I think that's what he wants us to do, to sign a proven goal scorer who scores week in week out in a top flight in Europe, say. But there's always a risk to that because they only can a top player will only able to play in the Premier League, not Europa League, as it infringes on FIFA's European rules, I think. So yeah, I mean, what top strikers are available right now in Europe? I mean, what I think is a top striker, maybe Benzema, Higuain, but Real Madrid not going to sell them, and not a lot of others that I can think at this moment, really. Maybe perhaps David Villa. He's suddenly out of favour right now with Barcelona, but do we really need David Villa? Because we do have Danny Welbeck, Chicharito to come back very soon, Berbatov, Wayne Rooney, and we do have a lot of coveted strikers. So I don't know if we need a striker that desperately, if I'm honest. And with the midfield situation, he said that although we need a creative midfield player because we are feeling the loss of Paul Scholes, and any team would feel the loss of Paul Scholes. But if you look at like Sir Alex said, who else out there is gonna improve us? I mean, there's only 1 or 2 players, and those are already at Barcelona, and they're not gonna leave for any other team because they're Xavi and Iniesta. I mean, they're both top class players challenging for the Ballon d'Or with Messi and Ronaldo, and to be frank, they're not going to leave. They're going to be a one club man, just like Paul Scholes and Gary Neville was for us. So it's really unrealistic, but there are other certain targets that obviously are available, like Jan and Villa at Rennes, who is an excellent defensive midfielder, but he'll replay in Europe, I think, so he'll be ruled out of the Europa League, but he would suddenly be a good buy because I think he's only 21 at the moment, so he would be suddenly the future. And there's other couple names certain around, Javi Martinez and the unanimous decision of Wesley Sneijder, who was a obvious transfer target in the summer, but we didn't get him because of his ridiculous high wage and personal terms that he wanted. So, and he is not part of our policy buying under 27 years of age players, and that would take away his sell if we were going to sell him in his 30s. So that's a bit of business action from the club there, but I do know where they're going. But right now, if I had to choose, I would definitely not get Wesley Sneijder, but one of the others, like Matt Götze, maybe. £30 million for a 19-year-old German. A slight risk, but he is, from what I've seen, definitely worth it. And like I said, Jan and Villa will be another great buy. So that's it for this video, guys. Like I said, sorry for the lack of content recently, but hopefully I'll be back soon with a more regular schedule for you. And yep, if you like this video, please comment, rate and subscribe. Cheers, guys.